Alright, further, this one's for you, so you know exactly how the UVW unwrapping it goes. As you can see here, we have the chair. To make it easier for me, first of all, I've cut it in half so I can use a symmetry so I don't have to do it twice. Alright, we're gonna start off easy and simple. First of all, the thing you need to know about UVW unwrapping is that you're simply taking a 3D model and making it flat so you can apply a texture to it. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get on to the fun thing. First of all, when you're doing UVW unwrap, if you click on it right away and you apply it, you're gonna see a bunch of green lines. Those green lines are the seams, or exactly where the line is gonna be cut. The problem with a seam like this is if you're applying it right away, the seams aren't correct. They're put in there while you were modeling, so any texture you put on it, it's gonna be jabble and won't work. So before we apply the unwrap UVW, we need to delete it. Into the modifier stack, go down and choose UVW mapping clear. This is going to remove any UVW unwrap that was applied to the model while it was modeled. So now when I apply the UVW unwrap, as you can see, the entire model is clear except for the open areas like here. Alright, let's begin. So first off, we need to make sure that we can take this entire model and slice it up in pieces so we can better control how that texture is going to work. So okay, let's start from here. The way we are going to cut this model is very simple. Here you can see the selection edges, so I'm going to take one of these edges just so it's easier for me to see. Instead of thick, I'm going to use thin lines. So when I do the loop, it's going to loop, well, not exactly all the way, but holding down control, I'm just going to select the edges where I want to make the cut. But bear in mind one thing though, when I say cut, that doesn't mean I'm going to do anything to the geometry of the model. I'm simply going to cut away where the texture is supposed to be. So when I have the lines selected where I want the seams to be, I just press this little convert edge selection to seams. As you can see, the line just became blue. Now another thing, this entire model, or this part that we cut out, it's rounded. So if we want it to be flat, we need to cut it at one more side. So cut it one more time. There we go. Now we have this part cut out. Next thing I want to do is cut out this part as well. So I'm trying to just kind of separate the lower parts from the main body, or whatever you want to call it. So same deal, select these lines. Well, that won't work with the line selection, so we're going to just go and manually select where we want to cut. There we go. And there we go. We've cut those. Convert edge to seams. We've cut out that part as well, but this one is connected to this piece here, so we can try now. I guess we're gonna do it manually. There we go. Take that. And there we go. We've converted this to a seam. Now I want to select the bottom line here as well, just like we did in the previous part. And the reason why I'm selecting the bottom one is that when it's unwrapped, there might be some problems, or at least artifacts that show up where the lines meet, and I don't want it to be seen. Just I want them on the bottom part. So that's why I'm using the convert edge selection to seams on the bottom where it's not visible, or at least not directly visible. Alright, time to cut out this part as well. Alright, please gonna work this way. Alright, here we go. We cut it here. Connect, or at least not connect, but convert. Select these two. Line them. There we go. Gonna have it. We can cut it here. Convert edge to seams, and like we said previously, just take this one. Or better yet, if we're gonna cut this one, we can start from here, because we're gonna have to bear in mind that we're gonna have to unwrap the main body as well, so we're gonna need to cut over there. Alright, so we're going all along the line until we have up to the end. We're gonna cut here, and well, we can just continue on down to the other line, so we have the cut made for this part as well. Alright, now with the cuts, let's see what have we actually done. If I click the polygon and select one polygon and expand the face selection to seams, I can see that now this entire part is a single element. This one is simple, at least element of its own. As you can see, like, all the selections have been divided, at least except these two, but we haven't started working on these, but you can just cut them up. But if we click expand face selection to seams, you can see that both of them are selected, which is not something that we want. We want to make sure that they're divided or separated from the rest. So let's go again. We're gonna do it manually, where we want to have the cuts. And the cut has been made. We're gonna do a simple cut. There you go. And the only thing that's left, it's the top part. Well, I can use it. See, the thing is, I should have cut it here instead of here, but it's not a problem. We're gonna connect them anyways. So make the loop here and connect. Now let's see. First, like we said, we need to cut one more line in the middle so it can open up. Alright, one more here. One more here. And now we should have them separated. There we go. All of them are separated, so the only thing that's left right now is to make sure that we can unwrap this, the main part, or the leggings. In order to be able to do it, first things, we need to select the bottom one here and cut it here. So we have a cut going all around the base. And then we continue this seam from the top to the bottom and cut it here. And if you're feeling kind of lost right now, don't be, because in the next step we're gonna do, you're actually gonna get a better understanding why I'm cutting it like this. Just bear with me for a little longer. Just want to make sure that we have all the cuts and we'll see why we're needing these cuts. Alright, we have that cut. We have this one, and on the top we need to make one more cut over here so it ends with a cap. There we go. Same thing goes for this part. It needs to end with a cap. So now if we check it out, we're going to see that this is a separate part, this entire thing is a separate part, and the bottom is a separate part as well. Now comes the fun part. We are going to open up the UV editor. If you see right now, everything looks a bit jumbled, and we cannot use the map like this. So in order to see what's going to happen here, the first thing we want to do is, well, at least make sure it's safe. Now I'm going to apply a texture, a simple checker texture, so I know what's going on the map. Like right now, as you can see, the texture is all jumbled. It doesn't work properly, as a lot of the squares are simply stretched, which shouldn't happen. All of them should have the same form and same size. And this is, like I said, where the fun part starts. We're going to open up the UV editor, and here we can start unwrapping all the parts. Like for example, I'm going to start off by selecting one of the faces of the elements, clicking the expand face selection to seams. There we go. I've selected this entire model. Now I have a few ways how to do this. If I know that this is a simple cylinder, I can use a cylindrical mapping for it. There we go. And if I put a fit, it's going to try to unwrap it cylindrically. As you can see, all the numbers now are actually looking kind of good. Or if I don't want to use the cylindrical, Control Z twice. All right, here we go. And now I can do a belt map. Belt map is basically, I'm going to take the piece, I'm going to stretch it, then it's going to relax it a bit, and we end up with a model that's, or at least a piece that has everything right on it. I'm going to do the same exact thing with this part. Like me, for example, I prefer using the belt map for models like this. And alright, we're gonna commit. Now we're gonna try and do a simple relax. By clicking here, I can relax the model and see what's gonna happen. The edge seams or the face. Like by using the face, it's gonna look stretched out good. The thing is though, I think this model is flipped, so if I do it right now, the edge or while the face, no, I won't deal with it. For this particular model, it's gonna work like this because all the seams are gonna look good. It's wood, but if it was something that would have had to be properly textured with something that's not like generic like wood, we would have had to make sure that all the normals for the faces are done right. You can see we have some jumbling here, which shouldn't happen. And let's see, inverted faces, of course we have them here. Alright, let's try and see if we can fix this. And there we go. The thing is, if I want to fix this, I can simply cut away one more part here and simply make it a single, but I don't want to do that. Let's see if everything is cut out right. Everything has been cut out right, so I'm getting just this jumble here, but we'll leave it for now. Alright, off to the next one. Same deal, belt, relax, commit. So right now I'm just cutting them away. Alright. Same deal with the top ones. Belt, relax, commit. Alright. This one, belt, relax, commit. As you can see right now, I'm taking the 3D models or the 3D model and flattening it out so I can use it as a texture. So one more pelt, start the pelt. As you can see, this one looks a bit different, but as soon as it gets a bit relaxed, relax it by edge or the face. And when we use the face, it's gonna straighten up. And there we go. Apply. Alright. As you can see right now, all the squares are starting to look the same size, but we can further improve on that in a minute. Just want to make sure that I have everything else done. Yeah. Well, for this one, like we said, we can do a quick planar map. There we go. As you can see though, now the little squares are much smaller from here to here, which shouldn't happen because all the squares should be the same, but that's a quick fix and I'm gonna tell you, please show you how to do it right now. Just want to make sure we have everything else selected. Yep, here we have planar map. Now we have everything cut out. We need just to make sure that most of these parts are actually connected. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, the first thing is this entire thing is basically supposed to be connected. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to make sure that I have this part selected, so at least where it connects with the smaller part, and just click until I have this made. Now, as you can see, the red squares that I have selected right now, they're adjacent right next to the small part. So if I click this Stitch Custom button, it's going to connect it to this part. So now I have both of these actually connected as one piece. And if I do the same thing over here, like so, and press that Stitch Custom button, it's going to connect it to this part. Now, if I select this entire element, just by clicking this element UV toggle and clicking here, I have it all selected. Now if I do a simple relax by face, it's gonna make sure that this entire thing has exactly the same size. As you can see, the squares are no longer different sized. They're exactly the same because it's all one element. Now save this one more time in case something goes wrong. But now, as we can see that some of these squares look a tad bit bigger than the ones on the bottom. We can utilize a simple function here. We have I think it's starting from 3ds Max 2011 though. By clicking this rescale elements, it's gonna take all the elements and make them take the same exact amount of space. As you can see, everything has been made uniform, and everything takes roughly the same amount of space, and all the squares are uniform. Now this is all well so far, but let's see how it's gonna look when we use our Cerused texture, which is basically this texture. I want to apply this texture to the chair, and this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to take the texture and put it on the object. Right now it doesn't look all that great. Reason for this is, well, everything else is jumbled. So what I want to do is click this button and pack it. So it's gonna pack everything within this square. This square is basically your texture. So anything that's inside, it's gonna be in the texture. Everything that's outside is basically gonna be a part of a same texture that's sitting right next to it. Now, for instance, if you're working with a seamless texture, you should have no problems if you go outside the borders. But if you're gonna be working with a texture that hasn't been made seamless, then you might have an issue if you have one of these elements overlap the border. Now let's see how we can make this chair more believable. So far it's not bad. I mean, it looks good. It looks like wood. It should look like this. But the thing is, when they're usually making these parts, they kind of tend to make the wood flow one way or the other. So I'm going to select this entire part, as you can see it here. And now if I rotate this for let's say 90 degrees, I can see that the wood is going the right way. So I'm going to move this down a bit. And then I'm going to select this part, see this entire part, and just like I did with the previous one, I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees, and I'm going to have the wood flow the other way. What have I selected right now? Alright, we have this one selected. Again, I'm going to make it flow the other way. Alright, 70%. Alright. And take this one. Again, rotate and move in place. Now for these, although when you're selecting this one, make sure you select these as well. So again, rotate, and for this one, rotate again. It doesn't have to be straight. You can rotate it any way you want. Like for this part though, I actually like it this way. or I can just take a bit more. Basically, I can do it however I want it. Like this way, it's gonna look more natural because the flow is gonna go straight from here. It's gonna look like it's going straight here, so it's gonna look more natural. That's why I chose. That's why I choose this way of doing it. So I'm gonna leave it at an angle like this. I actually like having this show up. And last, I'm gonna use this one, rotate it a bit again, and try to make sure that it looks like it's flowing. Yeah, I think it looks good like this. And with that, I have my chair unwrapped, at least the half of it. So I'm going to save it one more time. And now, above the unwrap, I'm going to put down a symmetry modifier. In the mirror part, I'm going to move the symmetry a bit here and flip it. This way, I have my entire model. Just move it tiny, tiny bit. Yeah, it's fine like this. My entire model has been unwrapped, and now if I hide it, you want to hide it? Yes. Well, before I unhide it though, I'm going to save one more time because it has a tendency to screw up things. So I'm going to move it down. Now unhide all. And there we go. Voila. On the bottom is your model. On the top we have mine. And this is a leftover from previous one. We don't need that one. With this, we've actually finished with the unwrapping of